What is up, everybody? Good morning and welcome back to the channel. Welcome back to Mythic Plus. Today we are going to do one of the last couple videos just going over the pug routes that I actually use to time keys in the back half of this season. I know there's not much left of the season, but we're still going to go over these routes just in case you're trying to time those 12s, 14s, 15s, whatever. So this run is something that I use pretty consistently. So let's just go over kind of the basic thing. As you can see, we're going to pretty much kill everything in Cinderbrew Meadery here. But there's a couple things that you just want to avoid on each pull. So the first pull, pretty standard. Everyone's pretty comfortable with this. It's the double muscle pull, and then just pretty much everything on this right-hand side. This is where you're going to pop Lust, pop all your cooldowns, just make sure you live. The things that are really going to make this pull kind of annoying are just the Pyromaniacs, doing a little bit more extra damage. You can kick those, so definitely make sure you save kicks for that. Other than that, just blast this pull. I've seen a lot of people just do this pull pretty easily just because people have seen it so many times. Going into pull 2, we're just going to make sure to get these Pyromaniacs and the Patrons. The Patrons don't really do anything. They'll stack something up a little bit on the tank, but other than that, they don't really do that much, so it's safe to pull them with Chewy. They're not going to be doing any big AoE, and that's where you just want to do Chewy by himself or as close to by himself as you possibly can. Recently, I've been doing this pull with Chewy. We'll get these 3 dead, and then we'll kind of drag Chewy towards this this area over here. And then if you stand right here and you pull these 3 packs, with just any kind of ranged taunt spell or something like that, you can pull another 3 mobs into Chewy. Very, very helpful for funnel. Make sure that you can get a little bit of extra cleave damage on that. And again, this is like the same pull, 2 Patrons and a Pyromaniac. So just 1 kick, not going to be doing a whole lot of damage to the rest of the group. We'll finish up the area by just going over to this last pull. It's going to be basically the first pull, but a little bit easier. So this should be pretty easy. Just make sure that if you are tanking, just make sure you have something up for this pull because it still will hit pretty hard. The only real difference is just the lack of the second muscle, so it's still going to hit you pretty difficult. But if you are a druid, you should have farmed Incarn or something like that back by this point. If you're a paladin, you should have like wings and toll and all that sort of stuff for this pull, so not going to give you too much issue. We'll go into the first boss, kill him, and recently, I know a lot of people like to try and get to IPA before Lust is up, but on higher keys, I've found that that doesn't usually line up very well. So I would probably recommend going over to Bank Busby first, go into the Bank Wing. Just because the Lust timing, usually if you're doing well in this key, your Lust timing is going to be like 4 to 5 minutes or so when you finish All Dryer. So you probably want to just go over to this wing because you can kill this whole wing in 5 minutes and Lust Bank. And on higher keys, Bank can be much, much more dangerous just because of his AoE, because of all the stuff that's going on, depending on your comp, depending on all your controls and that sort of thing. So I would probably play for this wing second, especially if you have like 2 to 3 minutes. If you have anything less than 5 minutes on Lust after killing Eldryer, I would definitely go Bank. Because there's nothing that you want to really Lust over here unless you're going to Lust a big trash pack over on the other side. So anyway, going into this next pull, we're going to just kind of take this wing slowly. The real thing that you want to be careful of is just getting a lot of these purveyors at a time. So making sure to get kicks on those and making sure that you never get 2 honey harvesters in the same pull. These stack in like an unavoidable damage taken buff, like it increases the damage of the next cast, so just make sure that you are not pulling these together and you're letting the debuff fall off a little bit or close to falling off before you pull the next honey harvester. So this will be a pretty standard pull. There's only 1 kick, and then just any other stops can go onto the Bee Wrangler here. The Bee Wrangler will also do that frontal, that like the line that you can avoid. So if you want to if you're ranged and that goes on you, you can stand max range and you shouldn't get hit by it. So definitely make sure to do that wherever possible. We'll go into the next pull, very, very similar, but this is going to be a little bit more dangerous. We'll have a couple kicks on these purveyors, making sure those honey volleys don't go off, and then the honey harvester will just do that unavoidable damage. So just, if you're going to do anything, make sure that those don't go off at the same time as the swarming surprise, because that will do a lot of damage. These purveyors, and it can get a little dicey, but should be a-okay. There is also an engineering thing, so if you're a gnome, mechanome, or goblins, or an engineer, you can grab the little flame cannon here, and this will make this pull very, very trivial. You can even, I think, grab this pack of bee jets with the first pull and grab the flamethrower, and you can make all of these pulls very, very easy. They'll stay disoriented for a long time, and you can just kind of blast. This pull 7 is probably not something that I would recommend doing in a usual pug group, so that's why this route looks a little bit funky. I would probably recommend just leaving out these two or separating right here, something like that. So just running in, getting all the bees, dragging them back onto this bee wrangler, killing all that, and then doing this 4-pack. If you're in a more coordinated group, you could probably do all this and drag them out out of the room or something like that and line of sight around the corner. But in a pug group, I would probably separate the pull right about here. We'll jump over this little railing over here. We'll get all the rest of the trash down in this group. Make sure you dismiss pets or anything like that. And the same thing goes, you can range the bee wrangler cast, making sure to get kicks on the purveyor, and just the honey harvester is going to do that non-negotiable damage. We'll get into bank. We should lust him, and so we'll put the lust on the timer right here, and it should be up for IPA if you want to lust IPA. We'll run back over here. There's another engineering canister as well, so if you're able to pick that up and use it on this pull 10, that is very, very helpful. The things I like to prioritize kicking here are just the flavor scientists. They will use the rejuvenating brew cast sort of thing, and there's 2 flavor scientists in this. That can really just extend a lot of these pulls more than you really want them to. So if you're going to kick anything, probably do that. You also want to be aware of the totems that spawn, because those will do quite a bit of damage, so make sure you're prioritizing those. Usually they get cleaved down if you have some pretty good damage, but just making sure none of those go off, those will pretty much be an insta-wipe on higher keys. But yeah, I like to prioritize the flavor scientist kicks just because everything else is healable to some degree, and then making sure this careless hobgoblin charges into walls, so you're not losing too much uptime on that. Going up over to this last corner over here, I believe you can skip this without stealth or anything like that. So you just hop on a box and then hop over. The box is like right here or something. You hop on the box, hop over, and I don't think you even pull this. I've done it a few times. People seem to mess it up. So if you're able to like shroud past, if you have a mind soothe or something like that, imprison works, skip this pack. There's really no need to, and it will make this next pack much, much more difficult. You can always just, if you mess up the skip, you can still try and do this, but with the 2 hobgoblins and all this other stuff, it can get a little bit dicey. So, yeah, do this pull 11, again, making sure the hobgoblins charge towards the walls if you're able to, so you don't lose too much uptime on those, and then these taste testers will just summon a lot of the totems that you have to nuke down, and then there's only 1 flavor scientist kick, so making sure that heal doesn't go off wherever possible. Next, we like to get a pretty big pull. Depending on cooldowns, what's available, you can do a lot of different things in this room. I would play around your cooldowns as much as humanly possible. But if people don't have cooldowns, you can probably still do this, because 2 hobgoblins and whatever. Especially if you have like uncapped AoE or something that's really good on 8 targets, that sort of thing will work pretty well. I usually like to just run in as tank, grab all this stuff, and pull it around this corner here, just because it makes everything line up pretty quickly. And yeah, I don't know. Some people like to just tank it in the room, but I like to just make sure that everything is around the corner, especially because it minimizes the chance that these hobgoblins are going to charge across the room into a random pack that we don't want to pull. So pull them around the corner if you can. Sometimes it makes it easier if you want to. This next pull, pull 13, pretty doable as well. We're just going to have a lot of those totems that we need to worry about, and then a few flavor scientists, but the flavor scientists are not going to be healing too much, so use any stops that you can. This pull 13 is actually going to be very, very easy because half the pull is these brew drops, so it looks like a big pull, but it's really not that bad. We'll trigger the boss. You might have lust up, you might not. If you want to lust this boss, go for it. If you don't want to lust this boss, or it comes up middle of the boss, don't worry about it. You always have it for Goldie Baron Bottom. After we kill that, then it's really just the 4 yes men over here, and then the final boss, and that's the route. This dungeon, you pretty much kill everything. There is some tech too on IPA. You can control the spawns or the angle that the brew drops spawn. So if you haven't been doing that and you're a tank, definitely try and angle the boss when he's using his his unstoppable or uninterruptible cast to try and spawn the next brew drops. At least spawn one of them on the existing brew drops that you've already killed. That will make this boss way easier. I know people, especially on lower keys, are pretty uncomfortable with this boss, so definitely watch like a tutorial or something like that. I could even try and upload one too, just as a quick example. But that is something that I would definitely recommend learning how to do, because that will make this boss super trivial. A lot of people are worried about getting an unnecessary shield on the boss, or just spawning extra goops where they don't want to, or not having enough CC. You typically won't have to worry about that if you spawn them in better locations. So definitely check that out. But yeah, we'll skip this pack in the corner as well, do the dungeon, and that's the route. As you can see, we're just about 100%, 100.17%, so we're not killing anything that we don't really need to kill for trash count, and we will be all good. So I hope this helped you. I hope you take this into your next pug route. Let me know how it goes. Let me know what you guys want to see next. Leave a like on the video if you liked it, and I'll catch you in the next one. Bye-bye.